This is a May Luna Media production.
Welcome to the Synaptic Soul Podcast, where science meets spirit and they totally make out. I'm Ava Marie Anderson, your quantum-loving, spiritually savage bestie, here to prove your energy isn't mystical, it is measurable. And oh, quick heads up, if you hear snoring or grunting or a dramatic sigh mid-download, that is not a ghost in the machine. It's just my Frenchie co-hosts, Rocky and Rambo, vibing at their own frequency. Let's dive in. If you're listening to this episode, there is a 99% chance that you have cried in a bathroom stall or a Target parking lot or the frozen food aisle at Trader Joe's, probably while holding a bag of cauliflower gnocchi like it was the last emotional support object on earth. And listen, babe, that is not failure. That is actually a symptom of being one of the most advanced souls on this planet. Because here's the thing about empaths. Like, we didn't incarnate into the soft version of reality. Like, we didn't click easy mode on the cosmic character creation screen. We looked at the universe, shrugged, and said, fuck it, give me the hardest storyline. I want character development. And because the universe has a terrible sense of humor and takes things literally, you got dropped into Earth School on hard mode during what appears to be a group project with 8 billion people, none of whom are reading the directions. And this world is a beautiful mess of chaos and miracles and contradictions and cosmic jokes and weird plot twists and sentient beings who somehow invented both creme brulee and reality TV. And if you're sensitive or intuitive or emotionally attuned or psychically cracked open like a cosmic egg, you're not just moving through this world. You are absorbing it. Like, you're feeling it. You're carrying it like a walking tuning fork for the collective nervous system. And, you know, while that sounds poetic, let's be honest, sometimes it feels like shit. Because being an empath often means that you are processing emotions that aren't even yours. It's like waking up with a hangover from a party you didn't even attend, thrown by people that you don't even like. So when I talk to empaths, I always hear the same confused, like half-exasperated confession, like, why is life so damn hard for me? And the answer is not because you're weak or broken or cursed or cosmically punished. It's because you are advanced. Like, you are spiritually bilingual. You speak both the language of matter and the language of energy. And what makes you one of those rare humans equipped to navigate Earth and at this insane intersection of evolution? Like, your nervous system, yes, the same one that overheats at the thought of conflict, was actually designed by a high-tech emotional supercomputer. And science even backs this up. Like, empaths have stronger mirror neuron activation and a deeper limbic resonance with others and a higher interceptive awareness. So, translation, you don't just sense the room, you are the room. And that's where the dumpster fire part comes in, by the way. Because Earth isn't exactly a spa. Like, it's more like a chaotic cosmic theme park where half the rides are broken and the maps are outdated and the employees are fucking hungover. Like, being highly sensitive in a world that was built around speed and productivity and emotional suppression and caffeine is like being like this delicate orchid growing on the median of a freeway. Like, you are thriving against all odds, but also one wrong gust of wind and you're like, yeah, that's enough. I'm going to go home and lay face down. But here's the part that we forget. You didn't end up here by accident. Like, souls incarnate with intention, sensitive souls especially. Empaths choose Earth not because they want peace, but because they want evolution. Like, empathy is not some cute personality quirk. It is ancient spiritual technology. It is a survival advantage, a multi-dimensional sensory system humans used to rely on before society got addicted to logic and data and pretending everything is fine. So, In ancient cultures, the empaths were the oracles and the dream walkers and the healers and the weather readers and the shamans and the priestesses who could feel the shift of the unseen before it became the seen. So today, you're the one who senses when somebody is lying, or when a relationship is off, or when a room is tense, or when somebody's pretending that they're okay while they are mentally screaming into the void. That's not anxiety. That's calibration. But we're also living in a time where sensitivity is framed as fragility instead of what it actually is. It's discernment. And that's why empaths feel so misunderstood. Because you're not too emotional. You're just too aware. And you're not too much. You're just too tuned in. And you're not overthinking. You're just overfeeling and oversensing and overfunctioning in a reality that wants you to be numb. Which is why life feels harder for you than it does for other people who just bulldoze through the world. Like emotional horse blinders on and the energy of a human tank. But here's the cosmic punchline. Every empath I have ever met came in with a soul syllabus full of emotional alchemy and karmic pattern breaking and ancestral healing and intuitive awakening and becoming the lighthouse for people who still haven't figured out that they're lost. Like, you came here to experience those big feelings and those big lessons and those big awakenings and those big transformations. Like, you came here to learn the art of navigating chaos with heart. You came here to turn pain into wisdom and patterns into boundaries and overwhelm into intuition and sensitivity into power. So if your life has felt like one long series of intense lessons and surprise plot twists and emotional avalanches and spiritual pop quizzes, good. That means you're doing it right. Like, you're in the advanced placement program. Like, Dumpster Fire Earth School isn't easy, but it is sacred. And if you've made it this far, you are already proving exactly why your soul chose this path. So, welcome to class, babe. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not cursed. You're just gifted. And then let's get into the why. If you've ever looked around at your life and thought, okay, but seriously, who the fuck signed me up for this shit? Congratulations, you've officially begun the whole second stage of empath awakening. And that's blaming the universe for a contract that your own soul enthusiastically approved while floating in the astral lobby with delusional cosmic confidence. And listen, I get it. I totally do. If I had $1 for every time I spiritually woke up mid-lesson, mid-chaos, mid-fucking breakdown and whispered, I reject this timeline, I could retire on a private island with my Frenchies and a margarita fountain. But here's the tea. Souls choose their curriculum long before we get dropped into bodies. And not because we're masochists or we're like gluttons of punishment, but because Earth is the only planet where emotional density is both a sport and an opportunity for mastery. Like, you don't evolve through comfort. You evolve through contrast. And empaths, we major in contrast. I always imagine the pre-birth planning scene like a cosmic HR meeting. Like, you're a glowing, expanded soul with perfect memory and pure confidence and zero trauma, and then the universe slides a folder across the table titled Earth Incarnation Packet, and inside is a breakdown of all the bullshit that you are about to walk into. Like childhood chaos, generational wounds, narcissistic partners, abandonment patterns, emotional landmines, and that one ex who still haunts you like a ghost with commitment issues. It is an entire syllabus. And you, in your fully enlightened non-human state, you're like, oh yeah, I can handle that. Easy. Give me that family trauma. Toss in a karmic soulmate for spice. I want the full arc. And then the universe raises an eyebrow like, you sure? And then your soul, radiating the kind of naive confidence usually reserved for toddlers wearing capes, goes, absolutely. I'm going to transcend that shit by the age 27. And then here you are, at 27, crying on a bathroom floor, eating cold pizza, wondering why your therapist keeps raising her rates. And this is the part that nobody tells you. Your soul chose the exact conditions required to activate your gifts. Like, empaths don't become empaths in sterile, padded, emotionally cushioned households where everybody communicates perfectly and nobody projects their shit. Like, if you came in to master emotional intelligence, you incarnated into a family that didn't have any. And if you came to learn boundaries, you were born into a dynamic where boundaries were either non-existent or punished. And if you came to heal ancestral trauma, then your lineage probably handed you a karmic backpack heavier than a fucking toddler in a snowsuit. And this isn't cosmic punishment. It's just cosmic efficiency. Like, there are 3 major courses empaths sign up for. And think of this one as like the soul curriculum framework. And yes, maybe I'll trademark it with my imaginary galactic lawyer. Lesson 1, though, is emotional attunement. Like, you learn to read the room before you even learn how to spell your name. You learn to anticipate emotional shifts or sense danger before it's spoken or decode micro expressions and absorb the energetic vibe of every environment with the accuracy of a psychic Roomba. And science backs this up, by the way. Kids in chaotic or unpredictable homes develop just hyper vigilant neuroception. Their nervous systems scan for subtle clues as a survival skill. And then later in life, that becomes intuition or sensitivity or empathy. Whatever it is, that gift is born in the fire. And then Lesson 2, we've got shadow mastery. Like, empaths don't just feel emotions. Like, we metabolize them. We absorb them. We swirl them around and try to understand them like an emotional sommelier apprentice. Like, early on, this meant that you were exposed to other people's shadows long before you were emotionally equipped to handle them. Like, you became aware of darkness not because you're dark, but because you're meant to transmute it. And Carl Jung would call it shadow integration. Your ancestors would call it the healer's path. I call it advanced dumpster fire alchemy. But then lesson 3, boundaries as energetic technology. Like, nobody teaches empaths boundaries until life slaps them across the face with the need for them. You learn that boundaries aren't walls, they are frequency fences. They're filtration systems for your nervous system. And often you only learn this after trusting the wrong people or loving too hard too fast or confusing empathy with obligation or maybe even mistaking emotional labor for intimacy. Again, curriculum. Like, it's not failure. And now, let's just talk the ancestral context, because I promise you, this goes deeper than your childhood. Empaths are almost always born into lineages with unfinished business, like unresolved trauma, women who weren't allowed to express emotion, or men who weren't allowed to feel at all, families who coped by shutting down or puffing up or numbing out or passing their wounds down like heirlooms. So when the empath soul plugs into that lineage, it becomes the breaker, that reset button, the pattern interrupter, not by force, but by frequency. Like, you're the first one to heal what past generations refused to touch, and that is why your life feels so extra, so intense, so much. Because you're not just navigating your own healing, you're cleaning up the energetic debris that was never yours to begin with. Epigenetically, this is real. Trauma imprints pass through multiple generations through gene expression. Spiritually, it's also real. Ancestral karma moves through lines until somebody is strong enough, sensitive enough, or awake enough to finally fucking stop it. But here's where the humor comes in. Every empath has had that moment where life is falling apart and they whisper to the sky, I didn't sign up for this. But somewhere in the quantum field, your higher self is laughing like, girl, yes you did. I have the receipts. And this is the irony of empath incarnations. Like, your soul chose the hard stuff not to break you, but to activate you. Like, you're not being punished, you're just being prepared. Your sensitivity isn't a glitch, it is a prerequisite for the role that you came here to play. And if you are already exhausted by this curriculum, don't worry. We're only halfway through the syllabus. Alright, quick break from the cosmic truths. Let's talk about something deliciously messy. My book. For the Plot, coming spring 2026, is what happens when heartbreak turns holy and your healing era gets its own plot twist. This is not your typical self-help book. It is part memoir, part fiction, and fully feral. A love letter to the women who burned down the old version of themselves and rose up with better boundaries and hotter taste. It's raw, it's funny, it's spiritual awakening and stilettos, equal parts tears, tequila, and transformation. So if you've ever whispered, at least it's good for the plot while your life was on fire, this one's for you. For the Plot, coming spring 2026. Get on the list now at avamarieanderson.com. Here's the thing that most people don't understand about empaths. Like, you are not overly emotional, you're not too sensitive, and you're definitely not making a big deal out of nothing, even though people have been gaslighting you with that line since you were old enough to feel other people's moods hitting your body like a surprise fucking weather system. What you are, though, is biologically, neurologically, and energetically wired to perceive reality in high def. Your nervous system doesn't do standard resolution. It is 8K IMAX, Dolby Atmos, emotional surround sound, constantly picking up data streams that the average human filters out. But let's start with biology, because you know me. I love pairing the woo with the let this make sense science. Empaths literally have a different nervous system pattern, and research has shown that people who identify as highly sensitive have brains that respond more intensely to subtle emotional cues. Their mirror neuron systems, those parts of the brain that allow you to understand and resonate with another person's emotional state, they fire more rapidly and more strongly. So when somebody walks into the room in a shitty mood, your brain isn't just noticing it, it is mirroring it, it is downloading it, it is running the emotional software before you consciously register what's happening. And while everybody else is just vibing and completely oblivious, you're over here like a CIA emotional analyst, cross-referencing trauma patterns and microfacial expressions and the way that somebody said, "I'm fine," with the same energy as a man trying to defuse a bomb with kitchen scissors. Like, you're not imagining things. You're actually detecting things. And then there's the vagus nerve, that queen of your parasympathetic nervous system. Like, this nerve runs from your brainstem all the way down your torso and into your gut, touching almost every major organ. It is responsible for regulating your state, calm or panic, freeze or intuition, connection and social safety. Like, empaths tend to have a high vagal tone in childhood because they are so attuned to other people's signals, but over time, and especially in chaotic environments, that vagus nerve becomes hyper-responsive. Meaning that you don't just feel when somebody is stressed, your whole nervous system reacts like you are in danger. And it's not trauma bonding, it's neuroception. It's the subconscious scanning system. Like, basically your nervous system uses this to detect safety or threat. And empaths have neuroception set to an expert mode. Like, other people's unsaid feelings register as potential danger. A shift in tone can become a data point. A weird pause becomes a warning sign. And meanwhile, everybody else is just ordering lunch. And here's where the mystical piece slides in. Like, smooth as butter. Your nervous system isn't just taking in physical signals. It's also taking in energetic ones. Like, empaths feel changes in the room before they happen. They sense emotions that haven't been expressed. They read intentions before they're spoken. Like, they feel when somebody is lying or when somebody is hurting or when somebody is holding back. And that's not anxiety. That's intuition riding shotgun with a highly responsive nervous system. And honestly, you know what? It is exhausting as hell if you don't understand it. Because instead of recognizing your body as a finely tuned spiritual instrument, you start thinking that something is wrong with you. Like, you start believing that you're fragile because stimuli overwhelms you. And you start thinking that you're dramatic because your body reacts faster than your mind can explain. Like, you think you're bad at coping when really you are just processing 10 layers of reality at once. And this is why empaths get labeled as overreactive, but here's the truth. Your reactions are accurate. They're just ahead of schedule. Like, you feel the storm before the clouds form. You feel the breakup before the conversation. You feel the betrayal before the lie is spoken. You feel the energy shift before the behavior even shifts. Like being an empath is like, it's like having emotional precognition. You're the early warning system for human bullshit, and that takes a toll. Your adrenal system ends up working overtime. Your cortisol levels spike from over-attunement. Your heart rate variability is constantly adjusting to the energetics of the room. Like, you're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you're processing life like a goddamn quantum computer. But here's the twist. That same nervous system is also your greatest asset. Like, empaths are psychic because they're sensitive. They channel because they're open. They intuit because they feel deeply enough to read invisible information. Your body is a divination tool, a multidimensional receiver, an antenna for truth. Every modality that exists, mediumship, claircognizance, clairsentience, energy healing, it all requires the same fundamental thing. And that's a nervous system capable of perceiving beyond surface reality, and that's you. And ancient cultures understood this. Empaths weren't dismissed, they were chosen. The ones who felt the most were the ones that were trusted with leadership and healing and decision-making and ritual and prophecy. They were the ones who sensed danger approaching before the village, like the scouts, even returned. Like, they're the ones who felt the shift in somebody's behavior and could predict whether or not they were lying. They're also the ones who could touch the earth and know if the season was changing. Sensitivity wasn't weakness, it was survival intelligence. And then fast forward to modern society where logic is worshipped and emotional intelligence is just optional. And then here you are, your gifts start to feel like liabilities. People tell you to toughen up or stop being dramatic or stop overanalyzing or to let things go or to just ignore it. But ignoring energy for an empath is like ignoring smoke when you know a fire is coming. It is impossible. Your nervous system's not a curse, it is a calibration tool. It's a soul technology. It's the interface between your physical body and your intuitive body. And once you know how that works, you stop drowning in it and you start using it. Because you're never meant to absorb everything. You are meant to read everything, yes, and then choose what the fuck to do with it. You know how everybody loves to say love and light? Yeah, but what about the black holes? Like, this is where Morgan Garza comes in, the shadow work queen herself. Her podcast, Love, Light, and Black Holes, is where mysticism meets the messy middle. Morgan dives into the real work, the grief, the rage, and the rebirths, and somehow makes it sound like a damn revolution. So if you're ready to stop spiritually bypassing and actually integrate your darkness, go check out Love, Light, and Black Holes with Morgan Garza, available wherever you listen. Here's the plot twist that every empath eventually hits like a cosmic freight train. Like, you didn't come onto this earth to suffer. I know it feels like that sometimes, especially when it seems like life keeps putting you through the same emotional obstacle course designed by a drunk trickster god with questionable ethics, but suffering was never the assignment. Transmutation was. Empaths aren't meant to drown in the dumpster fire. They are meant to walk into it, to rewrite the elemental code, and then walk out like a phoenix who's done this a few times. And think about it like this. If humans were computers, most people run on emotional software from 2011. Empaths, you guys are running on the beta version of the 2040 operating system. Like, you're not here to operate at the same emotional bandwidth as everybody else. You came here to shift the damn frequency of the collective. You are the emotional engineers of the human species. And that means your assignment was never meant to carry pain. It was meant to transform it. And the reason empaths feel deeply isn't because they're fragile. It's because they have the internal bandwidth to metabolize more than the average nervous system. It's like having upgraded RAM for emotions. When you feel somebody's sadness, your system isn't absorbing it. It's beginning to process and reorganize it into clarity and compassion and truth and healing. It's the same principle that happens in nature. Like, a tree takes in carbon dioxide and gives back oxygen. Empaths take in emotional density and return emotional coherence. And yeah, We're going to bring it in the science because I'm not just out here handing out spiritual metaphors like handy at Halloween. Like, research shows that humans create coherent fields, measurable electromagnetic patterns around the heart when they feel emotions like gratitude and compassion or deep presence. And these coherent fields aren't just internal, they influence the room. They stabilize other people's nervous systems. They shift behavior. They create harmony. That's why being around an emotionally regulated empath feels like somebody tuned the energetic thermostat to peace. But flip that. When the empath is dysregulated, everybody's going to feel that too. The frequency effect goes both ways, and quantum mechanics mirrors this. The observer effect shows us that consciousness changes reality simply by perceiving it. So when empaths shift their internal state, they're not just feeling better, they're altering the energetic field that they are plugged into. That's why you're the therapist friend, or the why does everybody tell me their trauma friend, or the I just knew something was off friend. It's not random. It is your aura doing what it is designed to do, but here's the kicker. Transmutation is not passive. It's not just feel everybody deeply until your spine snaps and you hope the universe is taking notes. Like, no, babe. Transmutation is an active assignment. It requires you to stay awake in the lesson long enough to change the outcome, which is why your soul gave you a nervous system sensitive enough to detect shifts and a heart strong enough to withstand them. So transmutation looks like breaking a generational pattern by becoming the first person in your lineage to set a boundary, or feeling grief fully enough that it becomes wisdom, or even transforming heartbreak into discernment, or choosing differently in relationships and healing your attachment style so that your future children don't inherit your past. It's like learning emotional literacy so that you can name what your ancestors suppressed, or turning your sensitivity inward so that it becomes self-awareness instead of self-sacrifice. That's a big one. Like, this is all emotional alchemy. And emotional alchemy has always been the domain of intuitives and shamans and mystics and priestesses and those medicine keepers of ancient cultures. Like, these roles weren't metaphorical. They were energetic. Those individuals transmuted collective density through their bodies and their dreams and their rituals and their nervous systems. And if that sounds familiar, then yeah, that's you. Every empath is a modern day alchemist, whether they realize it or not. Like, you feel so intensely because your body is a conduit. You sense so quickly because your intuition is tuned to frequencies that other people don't register. And yeah, you hurt more deeply because your heart is capable of expanding past the pain. Empaths are the portal through which change moves. And you know what? Change doesn't feel like a warm bath. It feels like pressure and discomfort and chaos and upheaval and endings and releases and then rebirth. But here's the part you need to highlight. You need to underline it, tattoo it on your soul. Your feelings do not break you. Your resistance to them does. And empaths get stuck not because they feel too much, but because they've been conditioned to believe that sensitivity is a burden instead of an ability. Like, society taught you to suppress your gifts and distract from your intuition and numb your internal compass and shrink your energetic footprint. But an empath who stops feeling stops transmuting, and that is where the suffering begins. Like, when you feel deeply on purpose, that's when your gifts kick in. And when you feel deeply with awareness, that's when your power returns. And then when you feel deeply with boundaries, that's when the density becomes medicine instead of poison. Like, this assignment isn't about drowning in other people's pain or becoming the unpaid emotional support person for every adult child with communication problems. It's about learning how to let emotions move through you without living in your body rent-free. It's about taking the raw material of experience and turning it into evolution. Like, you didn't come here to carry the fire, you came here to transform it. This is the spiritual syllabus that your soul signed up for, the advanced course in emotional alchemy. And you've already been doing it unconsciously. Now we're going to make it intentional. All right, if there is one thing every empath has experienced, it is the spiritual equivalent of deja vu holding hands with a red flag, and you know what I mean. Those cycles that show up again and again like the universe accidentally hit loop on your timeline, and sometimes it's not even subtle. It's like the cosmos is shouting, babe, we are doing this again until you get it right, and you're over here like just holding on to your crystals and your iced coffee whispering, I am trying. Like, people like to romanticize empathy as this soft poetic gift, but let's be real. It feels like a fucking emotional Groundhog Day. Like, you keep attracting the same unavailable partners, or the same manipulative bosses, or the same draining friendships, or the same chaotic dynamics that look different on the outside but feel exactly the same on the inside. It's like the universe just changes the actor and gives the character a new haircut, and then it reassigns them to the same role in your storyline. But here's the truth bomb that might sting before it empowers. Patterns repeat because your soul is trying to get your attention. And it's not to shame you, it's not to punish you, but it is to wake you the fuck up. Like, empaths run into the same situations because they process life emotionally, not transactionally. Like, they learn through resonance, not through logic. So the universe speaks to them through emotional echoes, patterns that mirror something unresolved or unhealed or unclaimed. And psychology backs that up, by the way. Enter the infamous repetitive compulsion, the very human tendency to unconsciously recreate circumstances that match our earliest emotional experiences. It is not self-sabotage. It's your brain trying to rewrite a story that it wasn't strong enough to resolve the first time. And if you grew up with emotionally unavailable parents, your nervous system will be magnetized toward emotionally unavailable adults. Not because you like suffering, you don't, but because your brain is trying to finish the story this time. But for empaths, that repetition is amplified because you feel the whole damn spectrum, like the longing and the hope and the disappointment and the confusion and the ache and the attachment. Your body becomes the keeper of the emotional archive. Your heart becomes the filing cabinet where your past stores all of its receipts. Your intuition knows the pattern instantly, but your nervous system stays loyal to the familiar because familiar feels like safe even when it's not. And now let's just flip it to the spiritual lens, because this is where this whole thing gets sexy in a metaphysical way. Like, repeating patterns aren't random. They are karmic threads, they're ancestral loops, and they're soul lessons. Empaths incarnate with the intention of breaking cycles, and cycles don't break by avoiding them. They break by facing them, by feeling them, by choosing differently within them. Like, every time you repeat a painful dynamic, there's a moment, usually quiet and subtle and somatic, where you feel the truth before you admit it. That slight tightness in your chest when somebody's energy shifts. That gut feeling that something is off even though nothing has happened yet. Or that intuitive whisper that says, haven't we been here before? Like, that's the moment the universe is handing you the scissors and saying, cut the fucking thread. Because karmic patterns don't dissolve through willpower. They dissolve through awareness. And then here's the real gag. The moment an empath stops trying to fix the pattern and then just starts trying to understand it, everything changes. And this is where the personal story comes in. And babe, you have lived enough lifetimes in this one lifetime to write a doctoral dissertation on emotional deja vu. And think about, like, all the times that you stayed too long, or you loved too hard, or you excused too much, or you thought that you could heal somebody with your light. Like, think about the moment that you finally realized, oh, this isn't even about them. It's about me not abandoning myself this time, and that is the plot twist the universe waits for. Like, patterns don't repeat to torture you. They repeat to show you where you're ready to rise. But let's just add a quantum layer here, because the multiverse loves a metaphor. So in quantum physics, there's this concept called timeline entanglement, where energetic patterns create predictable outcomes until a new input disrupts the loop. And that's literally what happens in your life. Like, the moment your awareness shifts, the moment that you choose a new response or a new boundary or a new belief or a new behavior, you jump timelines. You collapse the old reality and you exit the loop. And then empaths, we often mistake pain for identity, but pain is just information. Repetition is communication. Patterns are just the universe trying to make you bilingual in your own healing. And once you understand this, the narrative shifts from, why is this happening to me, to, what is this pattern trying to teach me about my power? Or from, why do I attract these people, to, what part of me is ready to evolve beyond this dynamic? Or from, why do I keep repeating this, to, what am I finally strong enough to do differently? And that moment, that choice, that is the portal out of the pattern. But here's what I just want to really hammer home. Empaths repeat lessons until they reclaim the part of themselves that they lost in the original wound. Like, you keep revisiting the same emotional landscapes until you walk through them as the version of you who no longer abandons themselves to be loved. That is the graduation point. And once you hit that, the entire timeline reorganizes. Like, the cast changes, the script rewrites, the energy shifts, the dumpster fire dims, and suddenly your life starts feeling like a new season instead of a rerun. You ever wish your spiritual practice came with a push notification? Same. That is why I live on the Sage app. It's like a digital mystery school and a self-care sanctuary had a baby. You'll find rituals, live classes, moon circles, and daily practices from some of the most badass teachers in the spiritual space. And yeah, I'm one of them. I host the live new moon manifestation clubs, plus courses and activations that blend neuroscience, quantum mechanics, and ancient magic. It's basically science with a side of witchcraft. So come hang with me live on the next new moon inside Sage. Download the app in the App Store or Google Play, and let's just get your energy right and your rituals tight and your frequency lit. Every empath reaches a moment. It's like the spiritual equivalent of tossing your graduation cap into the quantum sky, where you realize that you were never meant to be the emotional sponge of the world. Like, you are meant to become the alchemist, the regulator, the one who walks into a room and shifts the frequency just by existing. Graduation day for an empath isn't marked by external validation. It is marked by the moment that you stop abandoning yourself for the comfort of others. And this is where the assignment flips. Your sensitivity stops being a liability and finally clicks into its real identity, your superpower. Your nervous system, the same one that's been bullied or misunderstood or overwhelmed your whole life, becomes your intuitive compass. Instead of absorbing everything, you start reading everything. Instead of carrying people's emotions, you start discerning them. Or instead of drowning in the collective chaos, you become the calm and the clarity and the coherence. Science even backs your glow up. Like neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire, it means that you are not stuck with those old patterns. Like, once you learn how your body responds to energy, your brain literally builds new emotional pathways. Your heart coherence strengthens, your intuition becomes sharper, your boundaries stop being apologies and turn into calibrated energetic fences. Like, your entire system becomes less open wound and more sacred technology. And spiritually, like, babe, this is where you become the whole new archetype. You go from empath who feels everything to energetic sovereign who chooses what enters and what does not. You become self-sourced. Your power stops leaking. Your aura stops absorbing. Your intuition becomes your first language again. Like, you shift from learning through pain to learning through alignment. And graduation looks like saying no without guilt, and not rescuing people who refuse to rescue themselves, and recognizing a red flag before you emotionally adopt it. It looks like trusting your gut the moment that it whispers, or choosing relationships where you're met, not drained, and finally believing that your sensitivity was never the problem, the environment was. And when this clicks, the dumpster fire stops being something that you're consumed by and becomes something that you can walk through without flinching. Not because you're hardened, but because you're clear, you're boundaried, you're regulated, you're awake. Like, Earth School was never about surviving the chaos. It was about remembering that your energy is powerful enough to change it. Congratulations, you just graduated. You have been listening to the Synaptic Soul podcast, where science meets spirit and they totally make out. If this episode hit your frequency, do me a favor, rate it, review it, and share it with your fellow quantum weirdos. It helps the wavelength reach more souls. And if you caught a little snoring, that wasn't a portal, just my Frenchies Rocky and Rambo offering background blessings. Music is Cheat Code by 1,000 Handz, used under Creative Commons. And I am Ava Marie Anderson. Stay weird, stay wired, and keep making out with your higher self.